Hi everyone, it's Anne here from Positively Papercraft, and today I'm back with another 10 ways we can use up our heavy patterned papers. So I've got loads in store. There's 3D projects, there's cards, there's all sorts of stuff. I just want to quickly say that if you don't already know, I was nominated for the Best of Craft Awards 2021, which is the most inspiring blog. I've never been up for an award before. I would love to win. I'm going to put the link down below. It would be amazing if you could vote, and I think the voting's open until next month, so I'll put the link, and I would just be over the moon if you voted. You also get entered into some giveaways, and I think you can win a cruise as well. As far as I'm aware, it is open to Americans, Australians, whatever, but I know some people have had a bit of trouble with voting when you have to enter a UK address, I think, or I think you can vote overseas but you wouldn't get the free downloads or giveaways. But nevertheless, I will put the link down below. So let's get on with 10 ways we can use our patterned papers. Alright, so number one, I'm calling this my patchwork heart card. Now, it really is easy to make. You don't need any dies, really simple, and I just think it's adorable. And I'm going to show you how I came up with this, because I saw like some sewing stuff on Pinterest, and it was like a fabric, and then I thought, I could easily convert that into paper, and that's what I've done. So I've chose some I would call quite heavy patterned paper. This comes from the Paper Boutique, which is Moonlight Song. Now, the bit that we're going to do the heart on, I've cut this to 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Okay, so all you're going to need is a pencil and ruler. It's dead easy. Don't think it's complicated, because it really isn't. All you're going to do is round all 4 sides. You're just going to mark at every 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to just do a little bit to show you what I mean. So 3/4, then it would be 1.5 inches, 2.25 inches, 3 inches, 3 3/4. Turn it round and just keep doing the same thing. Okay, so every 3/4 of an inch. And what you do want to do is make sure that it's really light, because you're going to want to probably rub most of these out at the end. And then just keep turning it until all 4 sides are done. Alright, so they're all marked. Now it is just an easy case of lining up all of your pencil marks that you've drawn, and just do really faint pencil lines, because as I said, you will get away from rubbing some of them out because the paper will hide them, but not all of them. So you just want to go really light. And what you will end up with is just little squares, 3/4 of an inch squares. Dead easy. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. You will end up with 36 little 3/4 inch square boxes. Now what you want to do is take your paper, and I have wrote this down, and I'm sure it is 25, so you need to cut yourself 25 little 3/4 inch squares. Okay, I've just cut a selection from both of the papers I showed you there before. That's it, dead easy. Now you can see here we're going to work in little squares. So the easiest way to do it is if you take one of your squares, because you will need to cut just a couple of them in half on the diagonal, so you just end up with little triangles. Then just take your glue or whatever you're going to use to adhere it, just pop the glue down, and the first bit I'm going to start with is this bottom. So you've got 3 squares at either side, just like that. Just start there, and this will just help you guide everything in the right place. Okay, and then I'm just gonna start to work around. I can choose the different patterned papers I want, like so. But what you could do to make it easier for you is I'm going to cut this one again on the diagonal, and then this one is going to go just on the next one just here. Now I'm making a card with it, but don't think you just have to make cards. You don't. This same principle applies for any size. So say if you wanted to go and make it 8 by 8, you would just convert that 8 by 8 into 36 little boxes, and so on. So you could put it in a picture frame, you could make a beautiful frame out of it, you could put it on a gift bag. It doesn't just have to be a card. So I think the easiest way to do it actually is to work from the outside. So can you see? And then I know that this one is going to be another full one, and just so on. Just keep gluing them on, and then when we get to the top squares, so I can see this top corner has got to be a half a square, which is this way around. And then you can, I'm going to put these all on my blog, and obviously I'll put some pictures, and then you can work from the pictures just by where you've got to place them. And once you've done one, it's just so easy, and I think they make beautiful patterns, cards, whatever you want to make with them. And then I'm going to do another diagonal, but then you could do them, say, with cardstock as well. You could have just a few, like say, bright coloured pieces of cardstock on them. You don't just have to do paper, but obviously this video is using up patterned paper, but it is really good because it does look like patchwork. So I would just do the outside, and then you know you're not going to go wrong. Have I done that bit wrong? I have, yeah, I've stuck that the wrong way. It's okay, we'll move it there. We'll disguise it with something. So do you see? And then them two will form the top of your little heart. So this is what I do, and then you just want to repeat this same bit going up this way, and then it's basically just a case of filling the rest of it in with your full squares. So I think I will get on with this. I'll speed it up, and then you can see me do all of it, but just a bit faster. So They are just so pretty. And this time I'd cut a little sentiment and layered some of the 3mm craft foam on the back, and I'm just going to have this on the front, which is Love You. But as I said, you don't just have to make cards, you could make 3D frames, whatever you want. There we go. I just think they are so pretty. There's the one we've just made. Absolutely beautiful. So give that a go. It uses up your patterned papers and it's beautiful. I think that one's my favourite, but I do like them both. So let's move on to number 2. Okay, so number 2 is another version of this patchwork kind of effect. Again, it was another quilt that I saw and I just thought, I'm going to convert it into paper. This one's super easy again. There is a little bit more cutting and stuff, but don't be put off by it. Now, I did use a couple of dies. One was just a small octagon and a very small square. The octagon is 2 3/4 and the square is, well, I'm gonna just measure the die actually, so 1 3/8 I would say, but it doesn't have to be particularly that size. It's just something that will fit inside of the octagon. So there's the octagon cut out, and I know that the square is going to be like that in the middle. It could be a tiny bit bigger, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. Now for these bits here in the middle, all that is 2 pieces of card, okay, which are 1 1/8 by 2 3/4. And then all I've done on the back is I've marked them at either end at 1/2 inch, and all that's for is I'm just going to eyeball the middle and I'm going to cut up to this little 1/2 inch, and then I'm just going to make a little banner kind of effect. So do this on both pieces at either end. Dead simple. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with the other one. Okay, so I've got my 2 little banners here, and I'm not going to glue anything down yet, so I'm just going to, oh, by the way, this is 5 by 5, this little card base that I'm working on. So take that off, and then it would just be a case of lining this up with the octagon. Now I want to tell you how you determine the width of these. What you would do is measure your octagon sides. Now I know these are 1 1/8, so my card would need to be 1 1/8 wide to keep it, like, you know, all in the kind of same, running the same pattern. So they would just go like that. So that's the first bit done, and then your little square would just sit on the top like that. Okay, so that's how I've done the first bit. Now moving on to these here, really easy. All it is obviously we need the same width, so 1 1/8, because they need to fit the sides of the octagon, and these will just go under here, so you will need 4 of them. Now to cut them, again, measure down each end 1/2 inch. That's what I found worked. And then we just want to cut these in a kind of point. So you can mark the middle with a pencil if you can measure it, but I just eyeball it because you only need to do one, because the rest you can use as a template. So roughly go to the 1/2 inch and then just make them into a little banner. Okay, so about there and there. And then these, oh, it might be best if I take this off actually. These will just line under here. Do you see? They will come out each side of your octagon. So as I said, you need 4 of them, because you'll have another one here, another one here and here. But I can now use this as a template, so I only really need to measure this once with a ruler. So then I'm just going to pop it on there, and I'm just going to do that, so use that as a template. So I'm going to cut the other 2 and then I'll be back. Alright, so I've now got this, and I think we can start and kind of pop this together. Now what I'll do first, take the octagon and some glue, and I just want to pop some on the back of here. This is how I do it. I think it's easier this way. And then just pop it on, make sure you've got even amounts as you can coming from each end. Then you want some on this bit. Again, you want to try and get even amounts on each end. Okay, so I've got that on. Now these little bits here, what I've done is I've cut some of the card to 1/2 inch thick, wide, sorry, it was just an A4 piece of card and I've just cut them to 1/2 inch wide. Now what I did was I just kind of measured the distance here. So I want these at least 3/4 of an inch, but I think what I'm going to do is probably just cut them to about, just to make sure I've got enough, because you can hide them underneath if they're too long. That's why I've popped it up on foam pads. So actually I'm going to cut it to 1.5 inches, and again you'll only have to cut this once and then you can use it as a template. Okay, so what you need to do is the first bit here, just kind of get it diagonally and just cut it straight like that. Okay, and then you want to do the same with the other bit. You want to cut that straight up to there, so you end up with that kind of shape. And then what would happen is these would go in here like this. Okay, and if you think they're a little bit long, alright, sorry about that. Yes, so what I've actually done is decided to cut them at 1 inch. I experimented with a 1.5 and I found they were a little bit too long, so I cut them at 1 inch. And then now all I need to do is just pop them on here, and then I can just make a little template from it, so I don't have to, you know, guesstimate or measure again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you will need 8 of these. So I am just gonna get on with these. And I'll be back when I have cut these out. Okay, so there's all of my 8 little pieces, and as you can see, they definitely fit better. So now it's just a case of gluing these in to create the rest of the little patchwork pattern. Okay, so the third one is a kind of 3D project, because I did say we would have them as well. Now, I have took some pieces of 12 by 12. I've got 2 and I haven't done anything to them at the minute. I've also got some which are 12 by 3 inches. Let me just double check. No, by 4 inches. So you want 2 pieces which are 4 by 12, and you want another piece which is 3 by 12 inches. Okay, so what I've done is, as I said, I've got 2 full 12 by 12 pieces. The other piece is this one, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a kind of patchwork bag. All right, more of a sort of gift bag, but it's going to be a really big 12 by 12 one. So basically you want to take this 12 by 12 piece and we want to score it. Score on any side, it doesn't matter, as long as it's scored at 11.5 inches. And then what will happen now is this score line will be the bottom of our bag, as you can see here. So you don't want to put any of your patchwork pieces on that. Now take the two pieces which are 4 by 12. Now these are going to be the sides. So what you're going to do is you're going to score on the short side at 1/2 inch, 3.5 inches. Then you're going to turn them to the long side and you're going to score at 1/2 inch. That will be the bottom, and then put them back in, and then at 2 inches you want to score down to about 9 inches on your scoreboard. Do the same again, 1/2 inch, 3.5, turn to the long side, score at 1/2 inch, keep the 1/2 inch bit at the bottom, then score at 2 inches to about 9 inches on the side. And basically that's it. You don't need to do anything to this other little piece. And then what you can do is, if you take a ruler, keep your scoring tool, and these 2 bits here, we just want to score from that score line to the little corner piece here. Do the same with this one as well. Just go from there to that little corner bit there, and then do the same with the other one, from there to that bottom piece there. And then again, this one here. Okay, now that's that for now. Now I think the best thing to do is to just give that little 1/2 inch line a fold, so you know that you don't need to put any of your patchworks on there. So I want to have obviously these on the front and the back. Now I've just used hexagons. Of course you can use anything you want to create your little patchworks, and it's just a case of starting anywhere you want and then just joining them, you know, adding them together, and it creates this beautiful patchwork effect. So just cover the whole thing, and then if you have some which are, say you would have this, put this here, and then once you cut them off, don't throw them away, because they can like come in handy to fit little bits in there. So I'm gonna just glue these all on, and I'll be back when it's all covered just like that. Okay, I have finished both of the pieces of the bag. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So I've done one of the sides. I've actually just punched some holes with my crocodile, and I've put a couple of eyelets in, and I've just put some ribbon in. And then what I've done with one of the pieces, I'll do the same with the other, is I've just folded it, and then I've just took away these two little kind of squares at the bottom. And then all you need to do is get some tape or glue and pop it down the side along the bottom, then up the other side. Okay, and then what you want to do as well is you want to put tape along the bottom of the bag on both pieces. And then while we have it like this, I'm also going to punch the holes in. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, I think. And then I've got some eyelets here. And I just need to get one more. I'm going to cut some more of this ribbon. And then just slot it through, and we'll just tie it in a knot. Put it together, and it's so easy. So I'm going to have this one as my, this one's going to be the front. So what I want to do is take some of the tape off one side, and then I am just going to position that like so. Let's glue that down. And I'm going to take the other one and I'm going to pop that the same way. Just on there. Just get it in the right place. And press that down. Okay. And that is going to go up like that. So what I'm going to now do is take this tape off here and I'm going to take the other side and I'm going to just position that on there like so. And then I'm going to take this over here, take the tape off, and then that should match up nicely on here. Basically you're just sort of creating any size bag that you want by doing it this way. And then if you have your bottom like this, okay, you've got all of your tape positioned on there, we can literally just glue this piece here straight over there and that's the bottom done. So I'm going to peel all of the tape off. And actually you can do it in stages instead of doing the whole thing together, just in case you're worried like you might not get it right. So we will have this here, and then I'm gonna just position that on there. Actually I might just go for the whole thing together, and then I'm going to show you something else that you could do as well with this. So we have that over there. And that on there. And that is basically a really huge 12 by 12 patchwork gift bag, which I think is beautiful. Now, I also I took another hexagon and then I cut a white hexagon and glued it on the back, and I've just popped it on this little kind of silver thread, and I'm going to pop it through the little eyelet, and then I'm just going to tie it in a little knot. So we have a little gift tag as well that matches. Now what I wanted to show you was another thing you could do for the inside of the bag. Snip that off. So there's my little matching tag. Now what else you could do is on the inside you could cut that same piece again, which would be 12 by 3 inches. Then you could cover it again in your hexagons, and then you could put it on the inside, so when they open the inside of the bag they also have a lovely patchwork design, but it would also reinforce the bag as well. So, you know, bear that in mind. That's another like way you can reinforce it, and it would be all matching inside. But that is beautiful because you could make a little card to match as well. So let's move on to number 4. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Now, this one, I did this actually I think a few years ago, but I'm sure loads of people haven't seen it. Now, I want to make my own little fridge magnet. So it's a great way to use up any kind of papers that you have. Now, I want to make one. This was my adorable little dwarf hamster, which was banded, but unfortunately we lost him the other week. We had him for about 2.5 years, and I think that's their lifespan really, because he was a winter white dwarf. Adorable little thing, and I really do miss him. Anyone who knows me knows I love animals. So I've printed these little pictures. I've done 2 in case I mess one up, and I'm going to create my own fridge magnet. Now this was an adorable little stamp set I had. It's all about hamsters. I wanted to incorporate it some way into the fridge magnet. So let's get on with this. I've got 2 pieces of like thick sort of cardboard, and I'm going to join them together. Of course you can make your fridge magnet any size you like. This is 3.5 by 2 3/4, and I keep my scrap pieces of magnets. I store my dies on these, and I've just cut a little piece that I know will just go onto the back of the magnet. And what I want to do is cut out his little picture with a die. So I'm just going to grab this actually, because I use this when I'm working on dies, when I'm working with dies. I'll put the link up in the corner there for the video, because I made this and I think it's pretty awesome. So I think I'm going to take these 2 little stars here, because I'm going to cut a little bandit from the smallest star, and then I'm going to probably cut this from black card to be like a kind of mat. So we'll do all that in a minute. So take the chipboard, and I want to kind of glue this together. So I'm going to glue this together just to make it more substantial. Just glue them both together. Okay, and then I'm going to take the patterned paper that I've decided on, and I've cut it so I've roughly got about 1 inch around all 4 sides of it. Okay, and all I'm going to do, well, I'm not going to use glue. I'll tell you why, because sometimes it shows through on paper. I don't mean the actual glue, I mean like I squiggle my glue on, and sometimes with patterned paper, when it hits a certain light you can see the squiggles of the glue. So I'm going to use tape for that, just in case. So peel them off. Just check the patterns the right way, and then I'm basically just going to pop this in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to take a bone folder, and I'm just going to lightly score around the outside of this cardboard, just to help it better when I come to fold it. And then just lift it up. Okay, so that's what it's going to be like. Okay, so I've got this little MITRE tool. I will put the link for it, and it basically just helps you get the kind of perfect corners. Okay, and then tape and then just push them little corners in. So you just kind of, can you see there where I'm just sort of wrapping them around the card there. And I'm trying to keep things still. Just I've had a couple of comments saying, can I please stop moving around so much, and I'm sorry, it's just I'm really expressive with my hands when I talk, but I am going to try my best. So peel the tape off. Now what I like to do as well is take a little bit of glue and just go around the corner bits, and then just bring that in, and I will show you in a minute. You'll have perfect corners. Can you see? And then if I turn it round, perfect corners. I've already done that. So again, peel the tape. There we go, we've got our covered, start of our covered little magnet, and then I've got a bit of the scrap paper left, and I am just going to basically guesstimate this with some scissors. It's not going to be seen anyway, but oh, be careful it's not upside down. That's just going to cover the back, so I'm just going to snip this with some scissors. And then I'm going to glue this on. That down. Now I've got the basis of my little magnet. Now there's nothing stopping you, see, having a magnet. Let me get one of these off. A magnet which is an octagon or a hexagon or a circle, but what you would obviously have to do is use some cardboard that is able to be cut with a regular thinlet die, and then cut a few and just layer them up. There's nothing stopping that. Obviously with a circle it might be a bit more tricky covering it with the paper, but you could definitely go for other shapes. You don't just have to make it that shape. Now what I'm going to do is just get on, and I'm going to cut little band-aid out. Okay, so there we go. Isn't that just adorable? You're so squeak, and we have a lovely little memory of the little hamster. So as I said, you could use pictures of, you know, anything you want, make them as gifts, and I'll just show you. Sorry, I'll just show you what it would be like. See if I just pop it on my little stand here. There we go. That could be straight on your fridge or given as gifts, teachers' gifts, anything you like. So let's move on to the next one. So the next one is, if you have background dies, I'm lucky, I do have a load of them, and I came up sort of a way we could use our pattern papers. So this is a die called Cracked Glass, and I want to show you a little example that I made. So you can see there, basically I've cut it out twice, once from white card and again from patterned paper, and I've just, you know, kind of filled all the bits back in with the patterned paper. And that is a brilliant way to use up more of your heavy pattern papers. Now yeah, you could of course just cut a piece of pattern paper out and stick the die on the top, but I don't think you kind of get the same effect as you do. This way you can really tell that you have glued all them bits back in. So that's another way you can use your papers. Now I want to give you a couple of tips. So I've got this other die here. This one is a Sizzix die, which is this one here. You get two, and it's called Floral Lattice. Now obviously you look at this die straight away and you think, oh, there's no way I am piecing all them bits back in there. You would literally cut this out and you wouldn't have a clue what bit goes where, because there's just too many little pieces. But I've got a little tip for you here, because I'm going to do this one as well. I've took some beautiful but heavy paper, you know, really heavy patterns on it, and I want to kind of piece in this rose, this one and this one okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the die and so this rose here, for example, so I'm just going to cut a little square piece of paper here. It doesn't have to be the, you know, perfect size. It's okay if it's a little bit bigger, obviously not smaller. Now what you would do then is just run it through your machine like that, and then you know when this cuts, you're only going to get bits from this section, rather than putting it on a complete piece and not having a, you know, a damn clue where any of them go. You would be on for ages. So as long as it covers the bits that I want, which is just the rows here, I'm going to cut them out, and then I can just do it bits at a time. So come along, glue this onto my card, and then I can just start with this rose. Then I will get another piece which would probably have to be a little bit bigger, pop it over the top, cut that one out, and then the end one. I hope that helps, and it kind of makes it seem more achievable by doing it in stages. So I'm going to go along and I'm going to cut this out, then I'm going to do the same with that one and the same with that one, and then I'm going to start sticking them back into the rows, and then I'll be back when it's done. Okay, so I finished the two cards. That is the one I said I was going to do, and I just picked the 3 roses and cut them out like I explained, and it actually wasn't too bad. I think the worst part was probably this one, because it was quite a lot of little bits in the middle, but I love how that's turned out. And then I also put the same patterned paper behind the card, but just brilliant ideas. And then obviously that is the one I showed you in the beginning. So it's definitely worthwhile, if you've got some background dies, just to use them, use your pattern papers with them, and I think they make really striking cards actually. So let's move on to number 6. Alright, number 6 is dead simple and easy, and I'm sure I've done these before few years ago. These are easy little treat pouches. You could put little chocolates in, little sweets, whatever you want, and also I've made it from the same paper we just did the previous one. So it could even be like a little gift for somebody, couldn't it, if you do it in the same paper. This one was made with a piece of 6x6. This one is 8x8. So it doesn't matter, it can be any size you want it to be. All I'm going to do is get some tape, and I'm going to run it down what would be the bottom of the treat pouch, the top. It doesn't matter which way is which really, so just basically put it down 3 sides. Okay, 3 sides. And what I'm going to do is peel the tape off. So I'm going to peel it off the top and the bottom, and all I'm going to do is really fold it over. That doesn't even have to be precise really. And then I'm going to fold this one over this way. Okay, just like that. And this side is sealed, and then what I'm going to do is just take these like pinking shears. It could be a die, it could be anything you want to make a fancy edge with, and I'm just going to trim a little bit off, not too much because I don't want to cut away all of the tape that we've just glued on. There's one side there, and then obviously you would put in whatever you've got, and then you would peel the tape away. Let's find the edge. That's why you need to glue one side down only, so that you can then put in what you want to put in. Peel that away, and then stick that down after you've put whatever you're putting in, and then just make this a fancy edge as well. Just so easy and quick. And that's a great way to use up your papers as well, because it, you know, I suppose the more patterned they are, the better really, because then they're quite eye-catching, aren't they? So let's move on to the next one. Number 7 is a pinwheel. Now you can easily make your own pinwheels, and this one also does spin round as well. It's dead easy. You just need a straw, a little brad and some patterned paper. This one is 6x6, so it's a little bigger. I'm going to show you how to make a smaller one. So this card is oh damn, what is it? It's either 3x3 or 4x4, one of the two. I think it's 4x4. You need 4 pieces. So as long as they are, you know, like a 3x3 or 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, that type of thing. And then what you want to do is take them and you want to pop them in a trimmer or whatever you use to cut. It could be a craft knife and a ruler, and you just want to cut them like that. So you now have triangles. Now you would get 2 pinwheels out of this, so that would be another one. You only need 4 halves for 1 pinwheel. So all you need is take your little piece of paper, whichever side you want to have it on, and you're just going to have it like that. So just to make it simple, have it like this, so the point's on the left. Take one of the bottom corners and just bring it over like that, and then you just want to glue, put a little bit of glue just on the end here. Blocked up. I keep forgetting to put the lid on. A little bit of glue, just bring that over and just press it down. Don't press this bit down because you want it to be nice and bouncy. You don't want to fold that flat. So you want to just repeat that with your other pieces. Done. Now it's basically going to go together like this, okay? That's how it's going to go together. So what you can do is, to make it a bit easier for yourself, is you can glue just the corners of these little pinwheels together. And just put a bit of glue on there, and then just make sure they slightly overlap. A bit of glue on there actually. Okay, and just glue them together. Now you can do what I did on this one, and you could round the corners, but I think on this one I'm going to leave them as they are because this is a smaller pinwheel. And then I've just got a little foam mat here and just a little pokey tool, and what I'm going to do is just poke a hole just right in the center. You see, I've gone through all of that. Then I'm going to take the brad and I'm going to pop it in. I've chosen a yellow brad to match, but I'm not going to close the back yet. Now I'm going to use this straw. If you don't like the colour of them, you can also use washi tape to wrap them around and make it a better, you know, a colour that you want to use. Now I'm just going to flatten the top of the straw just like that, and then again I'm going to take the pokey tool and probably about 1/2 centimetre down I'm just going to poke a hole straight through the straw. Okay, then I'm going to take this and pop this onto the brad as well. Okay, all the way through, and then I am going to close the brad. And it's that simple. You've got a little pin. Sorry about that. So there, yeah, there we go. There's a smaller one and there's the larger one. Now if you say we're decorating for a party, or you know, a children's party, or just a little something, a get together, or see if you wanted to pop them in a little bouquet of flowers, or just to brighten up your craft room or kitchen or whatever you want to do. So definitely give these a try, because they are really simple to make and I just think they are so sweet. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is making 3D envelopes with your heavy patterned papers. Now I thought this would be great to store 6x6 papers, because what you could do is have a lovely collection of them, pop all your 6x6 paper pads in. Now some of them you may not fit in if they are really wide, and this will end up being 3/4 of an inch deep, so it will probably, you know, fix it for most of the paper pads you have. I'm going to show you two ways to make them. That's why I've got two pieces of paper here, but basically they need to be 10 3/4, sorry, no, they need to be 10 3/8 by 10 3/8. Okay, now the first way you can make it is just with a regular envelope punch board. Okay, and I'm going to show you a little tip, because I need to score at 5.5 inches. Now my scoreboard only goes to 5, so what I've done is I've just made a little ruler, and I've just started it off at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I've marked the 1/2 inch in between them. On the back I've just used a little removable glue dot. All I'm going to do is line that 5 inch up with the actual 5 on the punch board. I'm going to show you that close up. Can you see? And that is just to help me. So what you're going to do is put your card in. Your first punch and score is going to be at 4 7/8. Okay, so 4 7/8, punch and score. Now when you score, you're going to find that your paper is going to run off. So what I do is keep the tool in there, lift the paper up a bit, and then score, because it will go all the way to the bottom. Now the next one is 5.5, which is why I need this little, excuse me, then the next one is 5.5, which is why I need this little ruler that I've made. So 5.5 inches, punch and score. Now you're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. So 4 7/8, punch, score, 5.5, punch and score, and just keep doing that on all 4 of them. Alright, so I've got that. Now I'm going to take my corner rounder. I know the punch board has one on, but I still prefer to use mine. Alright, I'm going to turn it over, you may be able to see it better. So basically we're going to turn this into a 3D envelope. So you want to fold and burnish all your double score lines. Okay, and then what you're going to do is take your scissors. Do you see we have these really small little bits? Just cut up here, so you've made a little tab, cut up there, so that when you fold this up you can pop glue on there, and that will be a little kind of tab to stop your paper falling out. Well, not falling out, but it just keeps it all nice and closed. And then these ones, whichever's going to be the top, you can just trim these off. I will quickly glue this together. That done, what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could just cut the lid off so they're just like a pocket, or you could keep it like that, maybe put a velcro dot on them, whatever you want. Basically these would store your 6x6 pads, and you could have them all in a beautiful, you know, kind of basket or whatever you want. You could print out a little label and put what the paper pad is, or you could even put it across the top. Brilliant, and it's just a lovely way to actually use them papers. Now I want to show you another way you can make it. So this way is with a regular scoreboard. Now I think virtually all scoreboards, the 12x12 ones, you get this. This is to make envelopes. Now take the paper again, which is 10 3/8 by 10 3/8. Now you want to put it in like that. Now it's going to hang over the top, but don't worry about it, that's fine. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make your first score at 3 3/4 on this little triangle. So 3 3/4 is there. So I'm going to score. Then I'm going to score again at 4 1/8 of an inch. Sorry, 4 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm just going to keep turning it round and doing all four sides the exact same way. So 3 3/4, 4 1/4, turn again, 3 3/4, 4 1/4, turn again, 3 3/4, 4 1/4. And that is another way you can make the same envelope. So again, you're going to fold and burnish them. And then decide which you're going to have as the top. So I want mine to be, the top to be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip away all of this little corner because I don't need it. The same on the other one. So that will now be the top. And then with the bottom, I hope you can see here, we have like a little square here. We need to keep that. So basically I'm just going to cut straight up here like that. Then I'm going to remove this piece at the bottom, and I'm going to remove this little piece here. So all I end up with is the little square. So again, cut all the way down, remove, I can see it properly actually, remove this little piece here. So just leave the little square box that you have, and then you can actually take a little bit out if you want, and that's just to help so there's no gaps in the bottom of the envelope. Basically you will do the same thing, you will pop some glue on those little tabs there, and then you will glue this together just like before. So again, you can put your paper in, you can label it wherever you want, and you can have them all in some kind of little, I don't know, little basket, whatever you want. So give that a try, because I do think that's a lovely way to store even loose 6x6 papers. You know, I think we all have them hanging around. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Okay, now this one is probably my favourite because I just think they are so pretty, and they're not new, they've been around a long time, but just in case anyone doesn't know how to make them or how easy they are to make. So you could hang these in your window, hang them if you make them for Christmas, you know, you could hang them in on your tree, whatever you want. And they also make beautiful gifts, and they're so easy to make, and it's brilliant for using up, again, these heavy patterned papers. The papers I'm using today is from the Eastern Opulence. Now this paper pad is beautiful, every single sheet is foiled, but for example, they're beautiful, but sometimes I would just think, particularly this one which I'm using today, it's so heavy, and I just think I'm not really sure how I could use that. But there's elephants, absolutely beautiful, but I'll put the link for that. So this one was made with strips which are, they're all 3/4 of an inch wide, but this was made with 6 inch in length strips, so 6 inches by 3/4 of an inch, and I think I cut about 18 of them. Now this one we're going to try is going to be 8 inches by 3/4, so I'm going to make an even bigger one. So you could make them smaller, like say 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches, whatever you want. And I've cut 18 of these strips. Then what I've done is I've took a circle punch, this is a scallop circle, and I've just cut 2 out, and they are for the top and the bottom, just in there. Now you will need then, you will need something to punch a hole, some wire cutters, and this wire, I got this from the range I think last year. I didn't even know what I was getting it for really, but I'm glad I did. And it was, I'm sure you've seen the brand, it was only £1 for the whole reel. I'll see if I can find it and put a link, but I'm using this, so just whatever wire you've got. So first of all I'm going to take these 2 little scallop circles, and I'm just going to punch a hole in the middle of them. Okay, then because I've got a crocodile, it can go through huge amounts of, you know, paper and cardboard and stuff, so I'm going to do all 9 together. So just get them all even, and then I'm going to punch a hole in each end of these papers. That's what I love about the crocodile. I mean, that's 18 pieces of paper, and you know, it just goes straight through. So I just need to poke some of the bits out, and And then I'm going to do the same on the opposite end of that. Okay, so now I'm going to take some wire, and I will roughly tell you how much you will need in a minute. You don't need loads, if I'm honest. So what I'm going to do is take these and I'm going to slot them through the wire. So I'm going to put it in from the back and bring it out to the front. Then I'm going to take one of these little pieces that I cut, little circles, pop that over there. Then I've picked a few little beads. I mean, you don't have to add beads, you could leave it, or if you have some cute little tassels or something. Then I'm going to put a pink bead and then a black bead. Okay, so I'm going to have mine like that. And then I'm going to take some of these needle nose pliers, and all I'm going to do is just twirl it round so I know that it's not going to come off. Okay, just like that. And then what you want to do is, when you're putting it together, you want to make sure it sort of forms a C shape. Can you see that there? That's roughly where you know your wire will go through the other end. So I'm going to cut probably about there, and then I will measure that for you. So I would say you're going to roughly need about 6 inches of wire. Then I'm going to take my wire cutters, again get that C shape, leave some for the beads, and just trim that off. So I'm now going to put the other edge, the other bit through. This is what we have now. So we've got our C shape. Again, I'm going to do a pink bead, and noopsie, I'm not. I'm going to do the other end of the scallop circle, then a pink bead and a black bead. So you should basically have that. Then I'm probably going to snip a little bit more wire off, and then again I'm just going to twist it round like so, and you can use that bit to hang it with some little thread or something, or like under the window or wherever you want to put it in, and that's it. It's just a case then of taking these little strips and just fanning them all out. So this one is like, you could probably do with maybe 20 strips or 22 strips, something like that, just so you've got less gaps. Yeah, probably could have done with another couple of strips, but I'm just basically showing you how to do them. So that is an 8 inch, that is a 6 inch, but yeah, I think that probably could do with some more strips. But aren't they just beautiful, just to hang in your window, or you could give them as gifts. Yeah, definitely needs probably quite a few actually, maybe another 3 or 4. So if you're going to go for a 8 inch one, I would do maybe 24 strips to be on the safe side. But yeah, that's a brilliant way to use your papers, so give that a go. Alright, so the last one is dead simple, but I think it's actually a good idea. Now, I bought these from Amazon a while ago, and I had a few projects in mind, and they're basically just dust jackets for books. I think I bought a few in a pack and they were only a couple of pounds. So what I've done with this is I've put some elastic through just to make a little closure, and I've just basically put patterned paper on the inside, and it all holds it because it has, you know, the little things to hold the book. And again, likewise on there, so you could refill it. But I think these are brilliant because they're protected, and I just think it's a really good use for these. So what I did was I just measured it basically, and I cut the paper to size. Now this is a little flat, but I just left this on because I thought if I cut it off, the paper's going to be kind of, you know, on show from there, and it could get ripped or torn. So I just folded that over and left that on, and then just slotted the paper in. I punched a hole, put some elastic in. Now these notebooks, I get them from Amazon and they're so cheap. You get them in big packs and they're great just to, you know, decorate them yourself, or you can get all different sizes. And I just trimmed it down because it was a little bit too long, and I just put it in the paper trimmer and just trimmed and just took away the bits, and it actually cut it really well in the woodware trimmer. And then just take the little book and just slot it through there and there, and then the back piece just in the little pocket. But it's a great way to use up your, you know, again, heavy patterned papers, or papers you're not really sure to use them on, cards or whatever you want. And it's a proper protected like little folder now, and as I said, you can just refill it. So I'll put the links for these, but you might already have some of your own dust jackets of maybe, you know, books you don't read or something like that. Just have a look, see what you've got on them. But they do make great little notepad folders. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back again next week with some more ways and tips we can use stuff in our stash. So thanks for joining. Take care and bye for now.